Good morning. Welcome to Old People This Week. We are a podcast for people 60 years of age and over. If you stumbled in here somehow accidentally and you're not 60 years old, you can return to Tinder, Reddit, or wherever you hang out, or stay here and learn something, because Mike and I are the two smartest old men on the earth. Period.
Very smart, very experienced, and quite handsome, at least one of us.
There's 150 years of life experience here. 100 of that is on Mike's side. Sorry about that, Mike.
It's all right. I look pretty good for 100.
Yes, with your new fancy golf shirt.
You love this shirt? I wanted a pink one with stripes, but they were out, so I had to take this one instead. I'm going to get you into a collared shirt one of these days.
And I wouldn't be able to see these great...
Yeah, that turkey neck. No, that turkey neck could go away with a collar.
Not a turkey neck. I wish it was a turkey neck. I could probably have it worked on. I don't think there's anything you can do about those. Those are necessary load-bearing muscles holding up my head.
That's where your mellifluous tones come from. When
You'll never find another
No.
like mine.
No. Please
right.
don't.
What I want to say. Oh yeah, we had some new subscribers, which is always exciting news. Sign up. A guy named Doug Odell and a person named J.E. So thank you, Doug and J.E. for signing
Yeah.
up. Approaching 100 subscribers, which who would have thought that a couple months ago? Old People This Week will endeavor to give you the stories, the dirt, the gossip, everything you need to know heading into the weekend so you sound smart when you're out with your friends playing pickleball or at the golf course or at the gym or, of course, at happy hour where Mike and I do all of our research. Please subscribe. And if you don't want to see our lovely faces every week, then go listen to us and subscribe on Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
Yeah.
And send us an email to oldpeoplethisweek@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your comments. I would love to hear what you have to think about Mike's new pink shirt, by the way. Check out our Substack, 52tasks.substack.com, where every week we give you a task to perform. And this last week we talked about complimenting people or how to compliment people. This week, sometimes you just have to dance in life, I've discovered, and that's how we're going to show you how to do that. All right, onward and upward. There's plenty of news, especially in the celebrity space. Did you know that Tom Cruise has effectively cut his daughter Suri out of his life?
I didn't, but what a blessing. You don't have to put up with that religious fanatic anymore. You can go ahead and lead a normal life.
You know, what's funny is that's the reason that this article gave, is that Scientology is more important to him than his daughter.
Yeah.
So that's...
Yeah, what a guy. What a guy.
No, that same guy, though, showed up uninvited or unexpectedly to the premiere of the new movie Twister. Glenn Powell, we've talked about him before.
Yeah.
And he's the new star of it, and it was being premiered in London last week, and Tom Cruise, who was in Top Gun, this latest Top Gun with Powell, showed up to support him. And Powell raved about how his wingman had shown up and how great a guy Tom Cruise is. And so there's a lot of people that still like Mr. Cruise, despite...
Now, there's a lot of people in Hollywood who kiss his ass. You know, probably don't like him, but they're not going to admit it. And they'll kiss his ass every chance they get it in public, yeah.
Speaking of ass kissing, you did a little bit with Mr. Costner by spending your hard-earned $18 or whatever to go see that raggedy movie of his. According to the numbers, the first part of Costner's ambitious 4-part, 12-hour story just made $5.4 million at 3,334 theaters this past weekend, which was the second Friday to Sunday weekend of since it's been released, and it came in number 6. Shamed.
Too bad. It's a good movie. I don't care what anybody says. It's a good movie.
You have to sit for 3.5 hours. I'm going to buy you some adult diapers.
I had no idea, and neither did my bladder, which normally has about an hour and a half time lapse duration.
That's an hour and a half. I wish I had an hour and a half. I just think that any movie that get once you get past that 3-hour stage, it's just It better have something going on. Um, I also wanted to bring up Mr. Danny Trejo. You know who that is?
I love Danny Trejo. That's the meanest face ever in cinema,
Yeah.
with no makeup.
There's nobody in Hollywood who has the guts to try to get him to put makeup on.
Yeah, no. It's like, yeah, when he says "leave me alone," the makeup artists all run out of the trailer.
Yeah, his face looked like it was carved with a knife out of a piece of rock. He was in this movie From Dusk Till Dawn with George Clooney. That's still one of the classic scary movies of all time. Anyway, he was invited to appear at the Sunland Tahunga Rotary Club 4th of July parade last week, and he brought along 3 of his classic lowriders. And so he was in one of the 3. Evidently, it was a convertible because I think he's sitting out in the open,
Yeah.
waving to people, having a good time going down Whittier Boulevard. And all of a sudden, out of the nowhere, some guys start chucking water balloons at him. Anyway, maybe he had a bad taco because that trail has some taco shops down there. The car gets hit with a water balloon, then Danny gets hit with a water balloon. And he says he wasn't upset about it too much until somebody yelled acid. And not LSD acid, but like the
Battery
acid.
acid.
Battery acid, burn your face off. And he thought they're throwing water balloons at me with acid in them. So he jumped up out of the car and he races over into the crowd where he thinks he sees the guy who threw it. But it's here that I want to make the cautionary statement that if you're a Hollywood star and you're 80 years old, even if you still believe you got it, you ain't got it.
You ain't got it. No.
And he went into that crowd, and then the next thing you know, Danny Trejo is flat on his back on the street.
Yeah.
When you're 80, what I'm saying. This is a cautionary tale for guys like you and I, so that we don't get goaded into some bar fight. We just have to let it go.
I just pull my pistol out, and that keeps everybody quiet.
Pull your pistol out.
I'm gonna take you to the shooting range one of these days.
I went to a shooting range with none other than Dr. Dre,
Oh, my
the
God.
rap star. He and a guy named Eazy-E and a guy named Ren and Yella. They took me, what was the NWA rap group, took me to a range to shoot after I shot with them, some video with them, and they were going to go shoot at a range out in Tahunga or somewhere. And I went out there with them and shot a gun for the first time in my life. They showed up at the shoot, and Dre opens up the trunk of his car, and it was filled literally with armor. There was guns, rifles, everything in there. And they lugged a bunch of them inside the house where we were shooting, which was owned by Eazy-E. And he had a big glass dining room table, and they dumped all the arms on the table, and it broke the glass table, and everything tumbled to the ground. The other time I saw a gun in real life was I was shooting the Anna Nicole show. And we're up at her house in Coldwater Canyon, ready to shoot a scene, and we needed to move a couch. And 2 of the grips, the guys on the crew, pick up this massive couch and trying to move it, and it sort of tips over, and from under the cushions comes a pistol and hits the ground. And Anna Nicole walked over, bent down, picked it up, put it between her boobs in her bra, and looked at us and goes, "I've been looking for that thing." All right, we got more mundane things to talk about. About 2.5 weeks ago, I took my inaugural trip to Costco, the warehouse of dreams, where a man could walk in and come out with everything from BVD underwear to a half a chicken if he wanted to. You don't know why you buy anything. You were in a shopping coma. So I read this article. When I walked in there, I went back to where they sell the chickens, because I'd heard so much about their whole chickens for $4.99, and they were there. There was about several thousand of them strewn all over the place. People picking through them like it was a Black Friday sale, and they were in these plastic bags, and I just thought that was normal because I'd never been to Costco before. But evidently, this whole packaging has got people, the Costco kind of people, all pissed off, because it used to be in what?
It was in a hard shell plastic case, or like a plastic tray with a hard dome over it, so you could pick it up, put it in your shopping cart, get it home without spilling it all over everything else you bought and your car. And now they went to the old Ziploc plastic bag.
Yeah. Yeah, and evidently there's that if the upper corner of the bag is to let out steam or something, or if that's not held exactly right and it tips over in the car, all of a sudden you got chicken grease all over the back of your, over the back of your 1975 Buick LeSabre.
Yeah.
There's a TikTok user who calls himself the Costco Oracle. And why the Costco Oracle, you ask? Well, he boasts of having correctly predicted that the chain would start requiring proof of membership to eat at the food court. Is that true?
Theoretically, you have to show proof of membership to even get into the building.
So it is true then.
Yeah.
Then and also he predicted the demise of the chain's Polish hot dog. Who knew?
Dog on a stick.
And he's one of the loudest guys online bitching about these plastic bags. And so to prove his, to show how disgusted he was, he brought his own traditional plastic container to his local Costco, bought a chicken in the plastic bag, transferred it from the bag to the plastic container, which created a mess at the chicken station and confusion at the register.
Yeah, there's no way to get a chicken out of that plastic bag at the chicken station without getting grease and juice all over everything.
I've seen that hungry group of Costco people waiting to get to their chickens, and nothing's going to stop them. They'd take him and butcher him up like a chicken.
Yeah.
Right, speaking of, if not Costco, I told you the big three are Costco, Walmart, and Target. Went into the Walmart here locally, and it makes Costco look like a tiny little 7-Eleven. This Walmart was the biggest single store I have ever been in my life, bar none. I asked somebody there, I just needed directions to where they sold the bikes, and he pointed over, like, oh, it's right over there. Well, about a half hour later, and I'm sweating and dragging myself on the floor trying to find it, and I finally get to it, and it took me another half hour to get out. I just wanted to look at the price of one thing, and you have to find your way out. Target, the other one.
Yeah.
Target is big here too, but it's not as big as the Walmart. But anyways, Target has announced they're not taking any more personal checks, Mike, so you're out of luck now. You're not going to be able to bounce any more checks at Target. And not only won't you be able to write any personal checks, you won't be able to use the self-checkout because they're getting rid of that too. The idea was it was supposed to, they could have less employees overall if they only had one employee there in that area and 5 to 10 people are checking out.
Yeah, which is total bullshit. Because they certainly didn't drop the price on anything in the store with all those labor savings.
Yeah, there was no savings whatsoever.
None.
All right, so the next thing I don't want to do in life, besides go to Target, which I won't be able to write a check at now, or go to Costco where I'm not going to fight 50 white trash rednecks to get a $4.99 chicken, is I'm not going to Indonesia. The headline of this story was Missing Mother Found Dead Inside a 16-foot long python after it swallowed her whole in Indonesia. Where is Indonesia?
It's over there somewhere.
It's in Southeast Asia. Either that or it's close to Gary, Indiana. It's one of those two places.
It's somewhere where 17-foot long pythons are allowed to eat people whole.
Yeah. Yeah, and to your point is that how did she get sucked into that thing's mouth? Did she step on it and it got pissed off and trapped her somehow? Or did she fall asleep in the afternoon sun, taking a nap, and the next thing you know, she's getting swallowed head first, by the way.
And then they found another one in that same village. They found another woman like 3 or 4 days later, also another woman. Those are some big-ass snakes.
Those are big-ass snakes. But they don't digest it. They like these bodies just sitting there. Maybe the woman was dead already. This was a murder plot. Husband kills her, and then he just drops her on the ground next to the big-ass python. And there you go. See you later, honey. All right. Why I hate rich people. And I'll tell you how much I hate them. But I'm glad when I read a story where these people owned a $1.9 million Nantucket beach property. They had to sell it for $200,000 because all of their beach got eroded, and there's nothing left, so they're bailing on this thing for 200 grand.
They're rich enough that they can take $1.9 million hit.
Well, I read the article about this, and they were not happy about it. They tried a million ways to unload this house, and then finally they sold it to a neighbor who paid 200 grand for it. Just like, okay, I'll take it. And they showed that originally when they bought the house, there was a mile between them and the beach, and a road, everything,
Yeah.
and it's eroded that bad.
Well, it's like those houses on the beaches in Southern California that are falling off the cliffs now because the cliffs are eroding.
Places in the Pacific Palisades, they're
Yeah.
having all kinds of problems. Homes falling into the water. Yeah, these are not cheap homes. Well, we should ask Katy Perry, because she just bought a big ass mansion in Montecito, which is on the water. Perry and her fiance Orlando Bloom, you know him, the actor.
Yeah.
They bought a $15 million mansion from this 84-year-old multimillionaire by the name of Carl Westcott, who was the founder of 1-800-Flowers.
Flowers, yeah.
So Westcott, 84, he was a World War II vet, starts this 1-800-Flowers, like in the 70s, makes himself a ton of money, lives up in Montecito in this big mansion, and then somehow it got put up for sale, and Perry and Bloom make a bid on it. They buy it, except that right after they buy it, well, Westcott said that
Yeah.
he was mentally incapacitated when he sold the property.
Yeah.
He has the neurological brain disorder Huntington's disease, and he was reportedly high on high dosage of opiate painkillers when he made the deal. Nobody said anything, by the way, when he sits down to sign all the paperwork in front of the notary public, and he's Katy Perry standing behind and moving his wrist around to sign these paperwork.
Yeah.
And then, and of course, then immediately his family says he didn't want to sell it. He was in no position to sell it. And so that started basically a 4-year back and forth legal issue. And it was just recently solved, and it went in Perry's favor. Granted her the property on the basis that, and it quotes witness testimony and in quotes medical reports found that Westcott was of sound mind when he signed the paper. But it wasn't enough for her to get this house and maybe just walk away from it and say, thank you, Mr. Westcott. She has to pull the celebrity, arrogant thing of now suing him for $6 million for repairs and lost rental income. It's to get $6 million off of that $15 million she paid, which would now make it $9 million that she wants to pay because I don't get what the lost
Rental income. What's she going to do? Put it on Verbo?
Mike and I could grab the wives, head up to Montecito, rent an Airbnb or Verbo at Katy Perry's house for the weekend. Yeah. So they're going to, now this is, the whole thrust of the article is that she's following through with this. She wants her $6 million back, but she has to appear with Bloom at a trial that's going to have the Westcott family there and her, and it could be a Donnybrook, which would be great. If there is, we'll report on it.
Yeah.
The next celeb I want to bitch about is Mr. Kevin Bacon, who was, he's the guy from Footloose.
Yeah.
And he's been an actor for over 40 years. You and I just did a story about him just not more than a couple months ago, where he returned to the high school where they shot Footloose.
Yeah.
To be part of their prom that night, and they're moving the school, and they had the locker, and he was going to, the whole thing. But he came off as the good guy.
Everybody applauded him for being, such a genuine guy, and what a nice gesture, and blah blah blah.
Well, here's the nice guy, Kevin Bacon. He decided that he wanted to see how as he put it, the other half lives.
Yeah.
Meaning us. So he went to a special effects artist that he knew, had some consultations. So he just wasn't like a spur of the moment, I'll just go throw on a mask and go do something. He had consultations, got a prosthetic disguise to wear, and he headed over to the Grove. You know what the Grove is?
I used to go, when Mary and I lived there, in LA, I used to go to the French Market in the Grove, and it was dynamite. And a great little French cafe next to it, the same family operated. It was great.
Here's Mike. That's what I like about you. One day Costco, next day French Market.
French Market.
Cover all bases. So he goes to the Grove, yeah, which is a fantastic place. It's big enough that it has its own trolley that runs through it. It's got
Yeah.
all the big stores, and it's built like a little Main Street America. And yes, it was developed by Rick Caruso, who ran for LA mayor a year or so ago. And Bacon shows up there, and he's in disguise, and all of a sudden he says, people were kind of pushing past me, not being nice. Nobody said, I love you. I had to wait in line. I didn't know to buy a coffee. And he said, I was like, this sucks. I'm going back to being famous. So he rips the prosthetic out and goes running around to make sure everybody sees it's Kevin Bacon there trying to buy coffee.
Ah, jeez.
And the thing is that Kevin Bacon is not of that stature where people are going to start fainting and going nuts because Kevin Bacon is within their midst.
No.
Who cares?
No.
Yeah, I know if it was Anne Hathaway, you would faint on the ground.
Well, I'd have to I'd find a nuptial center and make her marry me right on the spot.
Have to get you some adult diapers in case you ran into her. Oh, man.
Yeah.
All right. The next thing I wanted to talk about was that you and I have once more been vindicated, and it's once more been shown that you and I are the two smartest men on earth, or at least in America. I won't say on earth anymore, I'll say in America. I'm smarter than an Indonesian because I'm not going to walk around and where a big gigantic boa constrictor or whatever it was, python can grab me. I'll make my wife walk in front of me. Honey, step over that log there.
Yeah.
No, this is about voice print scams. And I know you haven't heard of this, but I'm going to tell you about it.
Okay.
Thanks to technological advances, it's possible for thieves to capture a recording of your voice and then use a software program to generate an imitation deepfake version that can be used to impersonate you. Then in quotes, that voice print can be used to access your insurance or your financial institution or apply for a driver's license, according to Michael Brunner, Vice President of Data Breach Resolution and Consumer Protection at Experian. And I know what Experian is because every once in a while I'll check to see what my credit score is.
Yeah.
That's who
Yeah.
has them. The New York Times reported on a recent case in which a representative at a major bank received a call from a deep fake copy of a Florida investor's voice requesting that the bank move a man's money elsewhere. Fortunately, the fraud attempt was spotted by the bank before the real investor lost his savings. I called up Schwab and I said, hey, this is Mike, you know me as Ron, the rodeo singer. I'd like to move $10 or $12 million of my money over to Mr. Jeff's account.
Yeah.
Mr. Brunner says, how to stay safe. To prevent your voice from being duplicated, you don't
Never answer
answer
the phone.
As Mike and I have said on multiple editions of this
Don't
podcast.
click on anything on your computer that you don't recognize. Don't let anyone in your house you're not married to, and even then ask for ID.
Wife goes out to the store. When she comes back, I say, who are you? And let me see your driver's license. But yeah, you don't, nowadays you just don't you don't get involved in any conversations because once they have you in conversation with
You're
them,
screwed. Then you're screwed.
they can work you. You know, we're always acting smart and by saying don't answer the phone, like we're too smart for them. But honestly, they are so good at it that even brilliant minds like you and I, Mr. Brains, can probably be tricked by these guys. He says he's even cautious about answering calls that appear to be from people on his contact list, since the call could be coming from a phone that's been stolen or had its SIM card cloned. Onward and upward to talking about our friends down in Florida, our male friends down in Florida. The classic was this week where I saw a video on TikTok, video of a man using an alligator to open a can of beer. It shows a guy, the video, he's in a small boat with a bunch of other guys, and he has a can of beer in his hand, and he leans over the edge, and here comes this alligator. And somehow the alligator gets close enough to open up its jaws, and he puts it in there, and he like cracks the beer open, laughing his ass off, and then hands the beer back over his shoulder, and someone else takes it and downs it. Even growing up as white trash as I did, we didn't try to get alligators to open our beers. We might have shot at them with something to get it open.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So anyways, I showed that video. But that video's gone viral and been seen like 2 million times.
It's crazy. Have you ever watched that show? I hesitate to let you know that I've watched it, but it's about the guys in Florida who there's a hunting season on alligators, and they go out and hunt alligators, and it's unbelievable.
Is that the one called Swamp Thing?
Yeah, Swamp People or Swamp Man or something, yeah. But they tie these, probably a Costco chicken, but they tie a chicken to a tree limb right over the water with a big hook in it. The alligators swim around, see the chicken, jump up, bite the hook, and then of course swim off with the rope attached to the hook. And the guys in the boat drive up, pull the rope in, and there's an alligator on the end of it. And of course, by then he's really pissed off. So
that's poor use of a Costco chicken. Cue the Flattened Scruggs music here, and I can see those guys at their local Costco loading up on chickens.
Yeah.
I'll catch some alligator. All right. Well, then our last story here is, of course, also set in Florida, because there's a Florida man who is behind bars because he allegedly shot at a Walmart delivery drone, rendering it inoperable. So here's the story. Walmart is experimenting with using drones to, if you buy whatever you buy at Walmart. So like I said, they could have used that Walmart store I was at. They could have picked me up as a drone and dropped me a mile inside that store to go to the bike department. It was so big. Yeah. But they're experimenting with having drones to bring things, bring merchandise you purchase to your home. And they were in a neighborhood, and they were just practicing. They were sending the drone up with a bag on it or something, and then pushing it down the road and dropping it down and placing it hopefully near your front door. I don't know how they would know the address. I don't know how you get these.
No.
You had a Florida guy loose with a drone, and there's going to be problems, by the way.
Well, I don't blame the guy for shooting the damn thing down. Somebody starts circling my house with a drone. My first question is, who the hell are you, and what are you trying to find out about me? I'd step out with my 12 gauge and I'd disable that drone real quickly.
Well, that's what happened. They put the drone up in the air, and then as they're watching their drone go down the street, they see a man step out of his house, raise a rifle up, and shoot at it. So they, in a panic, they pull the drone back, and they call the cops, and they skedaddle the hell out of there with their drone that had $2,500 worth of damage. And the cops go find the guy, and they say, "Did you shoot this drone?" And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "They were." "I thought that it was watching me."
Yeah, I mean that would be exactly what I would think.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to get you a second home down in Daytona Beach so you can shoot at drones and have fun and chase alligators around and stuff. I can't see your lovely wife anywhere near the state line of Florida in any way, shape, or form. She's much too genteel to be hanging out with those guys. All right. Well, thank you guys for coming and enjoying our podcast today. Please subscribe. If you subscribe, Mike will show up at your house, and he will do your yard work for you. If you don't like looking at our faces, though I can't imagine why not.
Why not?
Go to listen to us and subscribe on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Check out our Substack at 52tasks.substack.com. There's always something there for you to do to keep your mind sharp and your body active. And I think that's about it. Email us at oldpeoplethisweek@gmail.com.
Yep.
We'll take all questions and comments, especially having to do with Mike's choice of shirts. All right, have a great week, everyone, and a great weekend, and talk to you soon, Mike.